clothing, we often think about style, trends, and price tags. But behind nearly every t-shirt and pair of jeans is a story we rarely see, one carried mostly by women. Women make up 80% of the world's garment workers, most between the ages of 18 and 35. And many of them work in countries with limited labor protections, places like Bangladesh, India, China, Vietnam, and Indonesia. In these factories, long hours and extremely low wages are the norm. Harassment and unsafe conditions are daily realities. According to Oxfam, 91% of Bangladeshi garment workers struggle to afford enough food for themselves and their families. And 1 in 4 experiences some form of abuse or harassment at work. This is happening even though the garment industry contributes 16% of the nation's GDP and makes up 84% of its exports. The workers powering this industry, mostly young women, are still the ones paid the least. Due to labor strikers being faced with violence, death, or even imprisonment. But the exploitation doesn't stop with workers. Fast fashion also comes with a massive environmental price. Earth.org reports that fashion production is responsible for 10% of global carbon emissions, the same amount generated by the entire European Union. The industry drains freshwater sources, pollutes rivers and streams, and sends 85% of all textiles to landfills every single year. And even after clothes leave the factory, the pollution continues. Washing clothing releases 500,000 tons of microfibers into the ocean each year, the equivalent of 50 billion plastic bottles. Qantas International found in 2018 that the biggest drivers of this pollution are yarn manufacturing and fiber production, processes that require massive amounts of water taken from local freshwater sources. Water that could be sustaining communities is instead being funneled into clothing that may only be worn a few times. Production is also accelerating. The UN Framework Convention on Climate Change predicts that carbon emissions from textile manufacturing could rise up to 60% by 2030. The good news? Our individual choices matter. One of the most effective ways to reduce harm is also one of the simplest. Shop secondhand and repair or DIY your clothes whenever possible. Fast fashion moves so quickly that quality is sacrificed. Clothes rip, tear, and fall apart faster, pushing us to buy more. But older clothing, especially pieces made before 2010, is often constructed with far better materials and craftsmanship. Buying secondhand doesn't just reduce waste, it saves money. You get more for your dollar, and you keep perfectly good clothing out of landfills. Think of it like buying furniture. A solid wooden antique table can last decades, while a cheaply made one might break in a few years. Clothing is no different. Older, well-made pieces often last longer, feel better, and age more gracefully. And when you do buy new, choosing higher quality and responsibly made items is worth the investment. Some brands are beginning to shift. Ralph Lauren, for example, has pledged to use 100% sustainably sourced materials by 2025. Fast fashion has hidden costs, paid by women workers, by communities, and by the planet. But by slowing down, being mindful, and choosing better, we can help push the industry toward change. Because caring for our clothes isn't just about style. It's about people, it's about the planet, and it's about creating a future where fashion doesn't come at such a high cost.